Hey friend, hey. So it's Queen Jewel, your over 40 big sis, beautifully evolving, but still very much a work in progress. So I told y'all a couple weeks ago that I was starting nursing school, and yeah, I have finished 1 week of nursing school officially. Today is Friday, January 9th, and I started on Monday, January 5th. And let me tell you, January 5th to January 9th was a long year. It was a long year. This whole week has been a long year. Your girl is tired, but that's okay. I wanted to tell you all about it, so let's get into it. So the week started with what they call new learner orientation. It was a lot of information thrown at us. Stats about the school, about the nursing profession as a whole, and just what to expect as a learner there at Nightingale. I have read a couple posts in a few places, and people were just saying that the orientation was a waste of time. But actually, I found it pretty helpful. It answered a lot of the burning questions that people have when it comes to entering a distance nursing program. And there was also Q&A time at the end where some of the folks that were on the webinar were able to ask questions specifically about the travel portion, what some of the course requirements are, like the different platforms that we use. So I really found it helpful. I intentionally did not log into my Canvas dashboard until after the orientation. I wanted to have context for what I was about to look at. I didn't want to be just in there clicking around and not knowing what I was doing. So I'm not gonna lie. When I first logged in and I saw that little blinking red light, all my courses and assignments loaded, my little ADHD brain almost had a meltdown. I saw that notification with over 20 assignments due, and I just sat there like, okay, so we not gonna get a ramp up period or nothing. We just you just gonna yeet us into the deep end of the pool. But I did the only thing I could do, just tackle them one at a time. Just kind of started chipping away at them. And then, after a day or two, I kind of found my rhythm. So I'm currently taking general education courses. A few of my previous courses aged out, so I could have waited and done them elsewhere, but I wanted to really just kind of get started. I wanted to start 2026 with just momentum. So I'm glad that I did that. So I'm currently taking anatomy and physiology, which they have broken into 2 different courses. I'm taking nutrition, and I'm taking algebra, which is my arch nemesis. My nursing core classes start in May. If you didn't know, Nightingale does 15-week semesters. They have 3 semesters a year. So the spring semester goes from January to April, summer semester goes from May to August, and then fall semester goes to from September to December. So, all right, this is where I'm going to cut in and I'm going to show my Canvas dashboard. So take a look here. Look how pretty it looks. So all of my grades and assignments are in for the week. And as you can see, I'm a 4.0 nursing student. No, I don't care that it's only week 1 and that I've only had 1 quiz. As of today, Friday, January 9th, in the year of our Lord, I have a 4.0. So I also want to shout out to Chrome extensions that made the Canvas dashboard look really pretty. So it's Better Canvas and also Task for Canvas. So if you download those and put them on your Chrome, you're able to make it look pretty. The completion tracker wheel that you saw on there, it even throws confetti when you complete a task. So I really love it. The only downside is that this setup does not transfer over to your iPhone or your iPad. So when I'm viewing Canvas on the go, it looks super plain. But on the desktop, chef's kiss. So let's talk about the course structure. Most of what I did this week were the webinars. Some of them are mandatory, some of them are optional, reading assignments, quizzes, and discussion posts. So the webinars. So each professor has scheduled live webinars that you can attend. And the great thing about Nightingale is that you can attend any session that you want to, any session that fits your schedule, even if it's not your assigned professor. And I love that because you might absorb the information and content better coming from someone else. You might not like someone's teaching style. So my advice would be to kind of skip around, maybe jump into a couple of the webinars for some of the other professors, just to see if you like the way that they teach better, and see who you vibe with most. For the general education classes that I'm taking, you don't always have to attend a live webinar. You can catch the replay, which is usually uploaded within 24 hours. So for courses that have mandatory webinars, the way that they track attendance is that sometime during the broadcast of the webinar, the instructor is going to give you a webinar code, like an access code. And then you then take that code and put it into one of your course modules, and that kind of tracks your attendance. And you're saying that you attended and watched that webinar. So the other thing that was I had to get acclimated to were the discussion posts. So for most of the courses, what the professor does is that they pose a discussion question related to that week's content. By Wednesday night, you submit an original response. So there's a word count requirement. If you're using sources, you need to make sure that it's in APA format. And then in addition to that original post, you also need to do 2 peer responses during the week. Those are due at the end of the week. And generally, the professors want you to do it on a different day that you do your main discussion post. So if you respond to the professor's question, let's say on Tuesday, you would need to do your peer responses Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in order for them, or Sunday, in order for them to count. So that's just something to keep in mind. Quick tip though. Draft your responses in Google Documents, because Google Docs does an autosave. I had a little scare earlier in the week because I realized that one of my posts didn't save, and I ended up having to rewrite it. So if I had drafted it in Google Docs, that would have autosaved and it would have saved me a lot of stress. So not all classes require discussion posts. Some of them have discussion boards, but it's not like for credit. But if you attend a webinar for some classes, you don't have to do the discussion post. So you always want to make sure that you check the syllabus and check the announcements and such. As far as the science classes, there are some labs in there. We do assignments as far as like working through modules and doing some knowledge checks. And then the science classes, you have virtual labs where you have videos that you watch, virtual simulations, and just interactive learning activities. So, quizzes. The quizzes that I took this week, the one that was proctored was through HonorLock. Now, if you have ever worked with ProctorU, it's like night and day. ProctorU, that's the one where you have to connect with a live proctor. They're sitting there watching you. Sometimes you can see them. They might be like, it's distracting. Not because you're doing something wrong, just because you're sitting there with somebody watching you the whole time. So HonorLock is not live proctoring. However, you do have to do like a room scan, show like a 360 room scan. They want to see your desk. They want to see, so you'll have to, if you are working with a calculator, you hold it up, do like this, hold up your paper front and back. And so you'll show all of that stuff. You take a picture so they can verify your identity, and you can upload your photo identification. But all of that aside, it was a very seamless process, and I have no complaints about that. You just want to make sure that, because if you have done ProctorU, I know they usually do the checks for your allowed material. They usually do that separately. For HonorLock, you do it all in the room scan video. So when you scan your 360, you also show your allowed materials, and then you submit the video, and you kind of go from there. So I finished all of my work probably yesterday afternoon. I did a couple discussion posts from my phone. But that's because every free moment that I had, whether it been in between meetings or after work, I was just kind of acclimating to this new routine. And I'm not going to lie, it's Friday and I'm tired. This hat is a signal to the universe. Absolutely not. If you want me to do it this weekend, absolutely not. Do you have time? Absolutely not. You want to go out? Absolutely. So I do feel kind of run down. I do know that I need to get some rest, and it's not in a bad way. It's just because of the chaos and excitement and just information overload. So I'll be using the next couple days to rest and recharge. My week 2 assignments don't start loading into the portal until like overnight Sunday. So before I go, one thing that I do want to emphasize is community. I know that when people talk about nursing school, they're like, find your people. And thankfully, I've kind of found my people. I want to give a huge shout out to my January 2026 cohort buddies that are connected on WhatsApp. My co-admins and I, we're basically besties at this point. And that just tells me that it's going to be a good ride. It's not always going to be easy, but we have been so supportive of each other, and I'm really excited about it. So if you are starting nursing or you started your program this week, have you started connecting with people? Have you found your people, your community? If not, let's do that before next week. So 1 week down, 14 to go in this semester. I'm excited. This journey is already teaching me like balance, patience, resilience, and all of that stuff. So if you're starting this week or you started this week, just let me know how you're doing. Pace yourself, ask for help, but you're not alone. So definitely check in with me and let me know how you're doing. So until next time, I will check in with y'all after week 2 and let you know how I'm doing. But I will talk to you soon. Bye.